global business leaders have gathered for the two-day B20 Summit, focusing on key priorities from financing the just energy transition to advancing inclusive growth for a changing world. Now, the B20 is taking place in Sandton, and this, of course, another key platform feeding into the G20 process. Now, one of the recommendations from the B20 report is the need for a fair and inclusive global energy transition. For more on this, let's speak to SABC News economics editor Tshepo Mongoai. Tshepo, good morning. So, of course, the business track very instrumental in terms of that final declaration. But the just energy transition also just one of those key priorities that we've seen over the past few summits. So talk to us about what was discussed yesterday.
Well, thank you very much, Sakina. Of course, it's day 2 of the Business 20, where we have seen the convergence of the global business leaders discussing various issues. And of course, one of the most important things that this group produced about 30 recommendations. And if you look at those recommendations, they are very much aligned to challenges that are facing the continent as Africa. And of course, there were a whole lot of discussions that happened yesterday, and one of them centered around the issue of sustainability, issues around education and employment. And we know that Africa is blessed with very young and vibrant population, but we still have a challenge of skilling those young people, particularly around the jobs of tomorrow. That's where we're seeing a huge deficit on the continent. Of course, companies and businesses committing that they will ensure that they make skills, they make their businesses available to ensure that young people on the continent are skilled to be able to be competitive, especially around the new era of artificial intelligence. And of course, the issue of digital divide, that also centered around how can the continent ensure that we bridge that digital divide that we are seeing on the continent with many people. Of course, we've seen the penetration of smartphones on the continent, but there's still many people who are left behind. The new skills that are needed today, many young people on the continent, and generally we're seeing that they are not able to participate. So there are a whole lot of commitment that we are seeing from business. So it's going to be a whole lot of discussion cementing those recommendations, where about 3,000 business leaders actually participated in carrying those recommendations. Of course, we'll be giving you much more as the day progresses. It's back to you in studio, Sakina.
And Tshepo, before I let you go, we know that the G20 leaders are not here, but of course in our next crossing, let's talk about the business delegation, whom we understand did make their way here to the B20. That, of course, is Tshepo Mongoai, our business editor here at SABC News, and we'll speak to him again in the next hour.